tell you what happened when I stopped trying to hide my intuition and started flaunting it. So I grew up in an intuitive household where your first sense was your intuitive sense. And it was used not only as a compass to orient and navigate you through life. It's your connection to the divine. It's your connection to the innate. It's connection to everything. But growing up, psychic and psycho were only one letter apart. And I was a really sensitive, empathic, intuitive kid. Teachers love to describe me as sweet. And with that sweetness and that attentiveness and that empathy and that real sensitivity to vibration, the big thing that I really wanted to do was blend in. I was a deep feeling kid, and all of the taunting, all of the times that I just didn't get understood really made me feel that my sensitivity was something that I needed to hide. And what I really wanted to do was just blend. I was like, me too. But it felt like I had cut off an enormous part of myself. But for years, all throughout high school and even college, I didn't talk about my intuition. I didn't talk about my guides or my angels. I had a full-blown mentoring practice and reading practice that I would do from my little Mazda 3 in the parking lot of my college dorm. And I was terrified, absolutely terrified, that if somebody figured out who I really was, then I would have to defend myself. I would be out. That somehow this was some sort of mark on myself and in my world. And then, everything changed in 2008. Housing market crashed. And I really, all of a sudden, look at so many of my friends and peers really didn't have the same toolkit that I had been blessed with. And that's when I was like, I have a lot to teach these people. I have a lot of tools to teach my friends and the people that I love to trust not only just their head, not only just their intellect, but also their intuition. That's your access to solutions, to creativity, to confidence. And the moment that I just stopped deciding to hide myself, hide this part of my identity, the whole world around me opened up. And in sort of coming out of hiding, coming out of, the spiritual closet, in one way or another, gave me the gift of recognizing that I was looking to other people for permission to validate me instead of connecting to my own spirit, connecting to my learned experiences and knowing who it was that I am in current time. And that even if, as my mom would say, you're not for everyone, and that's okay. And in trying to be for everyone, what it did was it made me a chameleon, but it also made me constantly looking to other people for reassurance. And that's no way to live, because first of all, people have all sorts of different depths, all sorts of different things that work for them, all sorts of different tools, experiences, backgrounds, things that are on their soul path. But when we're constantly using our empathy and our intuitive nature to tune into the needs of everyone else, we think it's going to make us safe. We think it's going to give us a place of ground to stand on, but it doesn't. Because other people and their emotions, their world, that is an ever-changing landscape. And if you put your sense of safety outside of yourself, outside of your connection to your spirit, what happens is that you're never safe because you're always guessing. And you might have that hit, nudge, those intuitive things, but what happens is because our intellect and our intuition don't speak the same language, intuition picks up on vibration while the intellect uses words, we might get that vibe that, Joe down the block is having a bad day or whatever. And what we do is have our intellect jump in and try and figure out what our intuitive vibe is. And instead of just having it be enough of like, that vibe doesn't feel good, our intellect says, you got to do? You got to work harder. You got to tap dance fast as you can, try. And in that place of trying, that's where we lose our connection to ourselves, to the present moment, to our personal place of power. And so I came out. And as I've said this story before, but honestly, the worst thing that happened was in my own imagination. And in the beginning, I definitely ran up against, and still do, naysayers, people who don't get it, people who want to who want me to explain myself, people who want me to get into the intellect pool, but I didn't. And from that place, and in making that decision in my adult life of like, I am not going to hide who I am. I am going to lead with my intuition and be grounded in decisions that feel good for me for now, instead of looking to the crowd to tell me what is true. It created an incredible, magical shift in my whole life. First and foremost, that's when I decided to write my book. My intuition said, write a book with your sister. That's when I wrote You Are Amazing. I got my book published by Hay House. That's incredible. As a first-time author, I ended up getting the intuitive guidance to leave Chicago. I had a marker that by my 30th birthday I had to be at. I had no idea where I was going, what I was doing, but I trusted my intuition to guide me. And from that place, I ended up going on a 3-week road trip with some of my best girlfriends in an RV. We went from the Oregon coast all the way down, ended up Burning Man. So many beautiful synchronistic things happened. I lost my phone and ended up getting it back from somebody who found my friend on Facebook, gave it right around the corner, ended up actually going to some of my friends' weddings, but then following my intuitive guidance, I actually ended up moving out of the country. I found myself in the UK in a whole new world where I actually got some space and some quiet to do some real deep healing work. And that place of having the solitude of not having, because when you're in a place, your relationships, your people can reflect back one version of you. And in that place of going to the UK and having some space, it was like, who do I want to be in this new chapter of my life? And I ended up actually meeting some really wonderful people, some soul friends who got me and celebrated me in a whole new way that I had never experienced before. And from that, then I got the intuitive guidance, and then I moved to Paris. And from there, I ended up not only being immersed in Paris, which was so beautiful and magic, but met wonderful friends, had just, I met my person who's my wonderful designer, who's like a good friend of mine. I met my wonderful got into kickboxing, which I just love. My friend Remy ate beautiful food, worked one-on-one with my mom, really deepening my esoteric practice and my doing readings and things in present time. I ended up actually revamping all of my stuff, moving again, got the intuitive hit to go to Thailand, where I ended up meeting my now boyfriend, moved to New Orleans, where I am now in a new phase. I've traveled the world. I have met so many people. And the thing that I find that has been the biggest connector is talking about my intuition, talking about my spirit, and asking people about theirs. And from that place in giving myself permission to shine, I've seen how many people have come out of the word work and said, me too. And I feel like in some ways, just in doing my own thing, it's been a place and a beacon of light for others. And it's been really wonderful to be on that journey and to say, yeah, at one point or another, I myself was really scared, but not anymore. Because I found that the worst fears were the ones that happened in my own imagination instead of what happened in the real world. I have traveled from one corner of the globe to the other. And when talking about spirit, intuition, synchronicity, flow, it has connected me with an incredible amount of people. I've been blessed to go on the top of 2,000-year-old stupas down into the belly and been given, just treasures, been invited into people's homes, had just been blessed in so many different ways. There's always a famous story that I tell about when I lost my backpacking in Chile and not being able to speak the language, trusting my intuition, and then running into an Argentinian priest who spoke English and who brought me in a taxi driver, and the taxi driver said, my intuition told me to stop and pick her up. I even just the other week, and having my intuition lead and having a deep connection with my spirit, I was going on a trip to go, not a trip, but I was going on to go see one of my grandparents who's actually getting prepared to leave this plane of existence. And my grandfather, her husband, used to flip pennies to us and say, "In God we trust." And even just the other day, before I went to go say my goodbyes to her, I found a beautiful, bright penny on my pillow. And when we open ourselves up to not only our intuitive guidance, but support, divine support, we recognize you are not alone. You are not your personality. You are not your job. You are not anything else than spirit. All of those things are just decorations on the Christmas tree. And when you connect to your heart space and lead from that place, no matter what, it will keep you safe. It will connect you to the highest vibe. It'll connect you to your tribe, and your life will become more magic than you could ever imagine, because you're not alone. You're never alone. You have so much help, and all you have to do is tune in to your heart space and trust that voice and not hide, because the more that you share and brighten your light, the more that you help others. So join me, if you haven't already, join me on Instagram at Sonia Tully, and for more spiritual tips and tools. I cannot wait to see you there, and I'm sending you all my love.